All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Look at this. Look at this thing. It's a miniature e-bike, but it has a huge battery on the back. So that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna review this full suspension, single drive, big battery mini bike. So let's get into it. The AE is a class 2 e-bike and it is a single drive. It does have a cadence sensor and it has 3 levels of pedal assist. It also has a full twist throttle over here on your right hand side. Now this bike weighs 75 pounds but has a maximum payload capacity of 220 pounds. Now what is interesting is I weigh 225 pounds without adding any additional weight on my back like I will during this review. So we're gonna see how this thing really holds up when you max out the maximum weight that this bike can handle. The AE only comes in one size and one color. As you can see, it is a gray model and they have 2 different versions of it. Now, the version that I have here is a 960 watt hour battery. The retail price on that is $899. Right now they're having a sale. This bike is only $599. Now they do have a smaller battery version. It's 720 watts. And with that version, it is regularly $799, but right now they have it on sale for $499. The ideal rider height for this bike starts from 5 foot to 6'1". Now G-Force says that the AE will go between 40 and 60 miles on a single battery charge. Well, you know, we're gonna be testing that out today as well. The AE runs on a 400 watt rear hub motor. It has a peak power of 600 watts and 55 Newton meters of torque. The AE keeps things very simple by only having a single gear drivetrain. The front forks have 38 millimeters of travel, but it is not adjustable. Then you have a middle shock that has 19 millimeters of travel, and then 2 more shocks on the rear that also have 38 millimeters of travel. Since none of these shocks are adjustable, I see with my weight, I'm probably gonna be bottoming out all of these during the review. The AE sits on 3-spoke 14-inch mag wheels. It has compass tires. They're also 14-inch, but they're 2.15 inches and they're tubeless. The tread pattern is designed for city and street riding. For stopping power, you have mechanical disc brakes with 160 millimeter rotors. Now with this version, I have the 48 volt, 20 amp hour battery with 960 watt hours. If you get the smaller version, you'll get a 48 volt, 15 amp hour battery with 720 watt hours. Charging the bike is very simple. There is a charging port right over here on this side where you plug it in, or you can actually pull this battery out and take it inside. And to do that, well, you're gonna flip the seat up right here and that lifts it up. You're gonna unplug the bike from the battery, get that off there. And then you have 2 sets of keys. Now, one key is going to operate the battery and the second key is going to operate the bike. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the key in right here, unlock it, and just pull it out. To put it back in, it's very simple. We're just gonna line it up with the guide, slide it back in, and lock it down. Don't forget that once you have the battery back in and before you turn the battery on, well, make sure you're plugged back into the bike. You have to turn the battery on before you can turn the bike on. And that is just a simple click forward. The AE comes with a 2 amp charger, which means it's gonna take up to 10 hours to take this battery from completely drained to full. When this bike is unfolded, it's 50 inches in length, but we're gonna fold it and break it down. There is a clamp over here that you're gonna bring down to unlock it. Then you're gonna slide it over to a side here, which will release it, and it will just come on down. From here, well, you have this locking brace right here. You're gonna unhook that, and then you're gonna shift it up. And when you do that, it's gonna release it so it will fold back. There's no folding pedals on this bike. All right, there we go. You can get it as small as you possibly can by lowering the seat. And when you do that, this is 29 inches by 24 inches tall. To put the bike back together, just reverse the process. Cockpit Operations. On the right-hand side, you have a full twist throttle. The grip is a hard plastic. You have your rear brake lever right here. And then Here's your display and here's your key. Now we've already turned on the battery, so let's go ahead and turn the bike on. You're going to put your key in there, turn it, and you have a very, very basic display. Up here you have your 4 bars for battery, you have your speed, and you have your trip. There's no buttons or anything on here to change that, so it's super, super basic, and that's just how it is. On the left-hand side, you have another grip. Obviously, it doesn't turn. It's not a twist throttle. You have your front brake right here. Then you have your headlights and your tail lights. Right here, you have your 3 different levels of pedal assist, and below it, you have a horn. This front headlight looks pretty bright, which is good because you definitely want cars to see you when you're coming. Also, it should be a good light for nighttime. You do have a rear taillight when you turn the lights on, but you do not have a brake light. Additional features include plastic pedals, plastic fenders, a quick release seat post, a telescopic stem, and this tiny little padded seat area. It is time to get this bike out on the road. I went ahead and put on some of my safety features. We got my half knee bar and mirror here and my Seco light, which we're going to turn it on because it gives me that flashing blinking light action, which is going to keep me safe, hopefully, on the road during this review. So there's no way to ride this bike without any pedal assist. You're going to get that. Something is definitely wrong, though, because we don't have any gear systems going on here. We don't have a derailleur or nothing, but this thing is just clicking. Maybe it's just taking it a minute for it to get into its space. But I can tell you right now, I don't know if you can see, but this bike, with it being extremely short, I don't have any room to pedal. And when you put a 225-pound, 5'9" man on this thing, it is not ideal. And I got to tell you, I don't even feel that safe on this bike. I know they're going to hate to hear that. There's no way to switch this control from kilometers to miles, so I have Strava going, and that is what we're going to be using to test our mileage. But to be honest, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do a full review where I take this thing all the way out to the end of its battery, just because of the fact that we're only doing 24 kilometers in 3rd speed, and that is going to take me forever. Plus, with this bike being so short to ride on, now I am sitting straight up, and I do believe I do need to raise my handlebars up as much as I can, so we're going to go ahead and try to work on that real quick. All right, let's see how far up I can go with this. Okay, you can't go up that far. Ooh, so see, my knee hits the key, which is not ideal. And just this little bitty bike with this big battery, I don't feel that this is for adults, or at least not any that are my size. I'm trying to see if the pedaling got fixed on this. Okay, so maybe it's just because it was sitting so long. At first I had a hard time pedaling 100%, and yeah, this is just not a bike that you're going to want to pedal. I'm sitting on the back end of this seat right now, and I feel like I'm going to fall off. And if I sit in the middle, well, like I'm doing right here, there is just, let me see if you guys can see this. See how my knees are all the way up where the handlebars are? That is definitely not ideal. And we are going so slow. But this is like a little bike that you would use for like a camping excursion or something like that. Let's say you're at an RV park and you just need to do some, moving around from one spot to the other. But if you're like a heavier individual, anybody over 200 pounds, I don't think is going to be ideal for this bike. So let's not forget, I am already over the limit that this bike can handle. It said 220 pounds, I'm 225. Then I put on clothes and camera equipment. So we're rocking a good 235, maybe 240. And I feel like this bike is just struggling through all of it. So right now we're going to see how fast this bike actually goes. We're going to put it in the first pedal assist level that it has. We're going to twist back the throttle here and see how fast we're going to go with it all pulled totally throttle back. So it looks like right at the top of 7 to 8 miles an hour for pedal assist number 1. Let's go ahead and put it in pedal assist number 2. And then it seems like whenever you do that, you got to let off the throttle and then put back onto the throttle so it reads the new pedal assist level. Looks like it's going to be 9 miles an hour for pedal assist number 2. Let's throw it into pedal assist number 3. Letting off, putting on. Now on the website, it didn't say how fast this bike would go. So I was trying to look and I couldn't see any information on that, nor did I see any information on how to switch this over from miles per hour you know, from the kilometers that it's showing. There's just no controls. There's nothing in the manual. There's no way to make any changes to this. It looks like 10 miles an hour is going to be the top speed on this bike. Yes, I will not be doing a battery distance test at 10 miles an hour. Oh, wait a minute, 11, excuse me. Let me show you what a man my size looks like riding this bike. All right, we are at our full 11 miles an hour right now. And really, it's even having a hard time holding 11 miles an hour. We're at 10, 9 to 10 on just any kind of small incline. This is what I look like riding this bike. As you can see, very cramped up. And if you try to pedal it, you have to put your knees out so you don't hit the key. So we're not doing any of that. I can understand why they have mechanical brakes on this bike because it only does 11 miles an hour. So you would not need hydraulics, but you know, it's a super cheap e-bike. You know, this little bitty mini thing, I don't know anybody that would want to do the long distances that we're doing. Oh man, this thing's going to have an issue on the hill climb test. We're trying to come up this hill right now, and this isn't anything like the hill that I'm going to be trying it on here in a minute. Here we are. We're going to do the top speed test and see how long it takes to get this bike up to 11 miles an hour. All right, here's the throttle. Here's the start. Let's go. Right there. 6 seconds, guys. It still feels like it's trying to climb, though, a little bit. 6 or 8 seconds, so you're like a bullet coming out of the gate. Oh, this little nugget. All right, let's talk about the features of this bike. Now, the seat, I mean, it's decently soft. You know, there's no, like, you know, comfort grooves or anything like that in it. But, like I said, this bike's also not built for a person like me to ride it. The front kind of shakes, like you can tell that it's not as sturdy as some of the other ones. Ooh, let's do some off-road action right here. Oh yeah, there it is. Battery rattles a little bit. Now, originally we would be doing a brake test on this bike, but it's going to stop within 3 feet of just hitting the brakes at top speed. We're at top speed right now. We're going to hit that smart right there, and it stops. So there's no need to break out the tape measure or the third person view of this bike. You just hit the brakes at this speed and it's going to stop. Now this top speed is like being in pedal assist 1 on any other bike that I've ever reviewed. But if you're into slow speeds and long distance, well, then this bike's going to be the one for you. With these cars, normally I go fast enough to where, okay, thank you. I have a car behind me, and I know he's just... Let me just pull over here so he can go, because I won't be able to catch him. Look, he appreciated me pulling over. There is no keeping up with any kind of traffic on this bike, so I would not recommend this for a city bike at all. Here we go. We're going to do some off-road right here. And we just slowed down big time. So just going across normal flat grass is going to take you down to about 7 miles an hour, I feel like. Oh, gosh. Oh, are we going to make it? We're on flat land. Oh, my gosh. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Okay. Let me turn this down so you guys, hopefully you can see. And, well, I feel like we just did the hill test right there. Let me, it's already, okay, so it's kind of tapped out already. Ugh. Okay. We can't even make it across flat ground on grass. So there's no way we're doing a hill test with this bike. Pedaling it, oh gosh, I'm trying to pedal it right now to make it through. I'm about to fall off the seat. Oh, and the seat just slid down on me some. All right, if you've seen any of my reviews, you know that none of them have been like this. But, you know, when they talked about sending me this mini bike, well, I'd never reviewed a mini one before, so I thought it would be interesting. And it is interesting. But this review is going to be really short because this bike can't do anything. And I'm saying that with a person my size on it. On pavement, we're doing just fine at 10 miles an hour. But in the grass, even flat grass, you're gonna stall. I'm not really sure this thing has 55 Newton meters of torque because I've gone through other stuff with bikes that have 55 Newton meters of torque and have done just fine. I'm just laughing because I'm wearing a motorcycle helmet on this super miniature bike that only does 10 miles an hour. That's probably going to be the funniest thing that people are seeing when they're driving around Chicago and they see me like, what is this dude doing? Plus the camera equipment, the GoPro. Gosh. So the hill climbing test is actually going to try to get back onto the 606, which is the trail that you see me use in all my reviews. It's what we've been on earlier today. And this is the hill for it. Let's see if we can make it up the hill. Oh, I don't think we're gonna make it. Well, we made it, which is surprising, but it was all pavement. So there's that. Well, at this point, we're just going to be heading on back to the house so I can give you my final thoughts on this bike. All right, guys, we made it back. Now, today, I only rode this bike 5.12 miles. That's what Strava says. And we were going at a blistering 7.99 miles an hour. I don't even know what to say about this bike at this point. I would definitely not recommend it for any adult that is anywhere close to my size. It's just not going to be comfortable. You're not going to want to pedal it, and it goes super slow. Now, I do think if you have like a younger kid, a younger child, I think, you know, because the seat goes super low and this drops down super low. I mean, I think that, let me move my phone holder here. Get down in there, right? Like, I think you could put a kid on this bike. I think it should be marketed for kids, actually, because this bike for an adult just doesn't make sense to me. So there it is. You know, I mean, it will stop on a dime. It was relatively comfortable in the short amount of time that I was on it, but did I feel safe? No. Was the speed that I had at 10 miles an hour, did I feel comfortable riding it in the city? No. Right? Normally, I would take a bike out to Lakeshore Drive, but to do that, I have to go through city streets and traffic, and there's no way I wanted to put this bike anywhere on the streets where I would be around traffic. So that's just a safety thing for me. You might feel like it's different, but there we go. So that's it. That's my review on the G-Force AE. I'm sure it's not what they want to hear, but I have a feeling it's what you wanted to know. So I want to thank you. I want to thank you for watching. And until I see you again, enjoy the ride.